The book of Genesis is fundamental for understanding everything else in the Bible. Every passage, sentence, and detail has important connections to the people, places, and events you will later discover in the remaining 65 books. Your first time reading Genesis might seem as though you are reading a collection of short stories, interspersed with random facts. Once you've read the entire Bible, however, you realize that the book of Genesis is a treasure chest filled with valuable information that ties everything together. Not just everything in the Bible, but everything in life. This video will provide you with a brief overview of what you will encounter in this book. The book of Genesis can be divided into two main sections: prehistoric times, chapters 1 through 11, and the early history of mankind, chapters 12 through 50. The first section covers God's creation of the world, the fall of man, the great flood, and the Tower of Babel. The second part focuses on God's plan to rescue mankind from the eternal consequences of his fall, restoring all of humanity back into God's eternal family in the kingdom of heaven. Key terms: the fall of man, the devil, the great flood, the Tower of Babel, the patriarchs. God creates the earth, everything above it, and everything below it. Then he created the first man, Adam. He placed Adam in a special location called the Garden of Eden and created for him a wife named Eve. A fallen angel, known as the devil, tempted Adam and Eve to disobey the Lord, and they agreed to do it. This resulted in them getting kicked out of their special place and losing their membership in the kingdom of heaven. This is known as the fall of man. They were relocated to a harsh world infested with wicked spirits and ruled over by the devil, a place we currently call home. Who is the devil? The devil is a powerful angel who organized and led a rebellion against his creator, God. His goal was to take over God's creation and be worshipped like God. The holy angels put an end to the rebellion and kicked all of the rebels out of heaven. Since that time, they have been imprisoned here in this world to wait for their punishment from God. Under the influence of the devil, mankind became so wicked that God sent a global flood to destroy everyone but the family of one righteous man named Noah. Noah and his family would give humanity a second chance by repopulating the earth. The Tower of Babel. Hundreds of years after the flood, one of Noah's descendants, a man named Nimrod, became a powerful ruler who, like the devil, wanted to start a war with God. He brought everyone together to build a tower which he hoped would reach all the way up to heaven. The Lord responded by confusing the common language of the people into 70 different languages and scattering them throughout the world. This resulted in a multitude of nations. Eventually, all of these different nations turned to evil and began to worship small g gods, which were actually fallen angels and unclean spirits. Rather than destroy mankind once and for all, the Lord decided to raise up a nation that would obey him and be an example for the rest of the world. This nation would be the offspring of a righteous man named Abraham. The Lord informed Abraham of his plan and instructed him to leave his home and travel to a distant place that God would give to Abraham's descendants. Abraham had a son named Isaac. Isaac had a son named Jacob. Together, the three of them, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, became known as the patriarchs, the fathers of the nation of Israel, not to be confused with the modern people who named themselves after the biblical Israelites. Footnote: the nation of Israel came to an end long ago in the 1st century AD. Genesis ends with all of Abraham's descendants settling in the kingdom of Egypt, setting the stage for the events we will learn about in the second book of the Bible, Exodus. The book of Genesis teaches us about God's creation and the early history of the world, including the fall of man, the devil, the great flood, the Tower of Babel, the patriarchs. In the book of Exodus, we will see God directly intervene in human events to create a special nation through which he will save all of mankind.